We're very happy to have you back, even for a short visit.
And here we go.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is a special episode. This is our Iron Fist review episode. We're going to get to it in just a second, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things on the listen back that we noticed, and it's a couple of minor things, but first is that the background audio is coming through on one channel. We knew that when we were in there, so don't think your headphones are freaking out. They're not. I got my buddy Agent Palmer hanging out with me right now.
That's right.
See, I'm not lying. He's really here. And the other thing is we really didn't give everybody quite proper shout out and the promos. So hanging out with us during this episode is Dan Evans, who was on the regular show with us, not just a special review for Iron Fist. You can check out that episode with other episodes of the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, wherever good.
And you can check out Mr. Dan Evans on Twitter at Deac273. That's DEAC 273.
I was going to get to that, man.
Well, you know.
Oh, all right, fine, whatever. Steal my thunder. All right, so outside of that, did I hit all the bases? Did I hit all the marks, Palmer?
I think you did. I think you did.
Where to hear us. If you want to know more about where to hear us and how to hear us, stick around for the very end. You can hear our friend Paula give you the breakdown. We're live on the weekends. On Saturdays, you can check us out, and she'll tell you where, when, and how. Just stick around to the end of the episode. And I think that's it, right?
That's it.
That's it. All right. So if you like what you hear, come check us out some more and find us, and we'll appreciate that. Right.
You will.
Right. Just say
Yep.
yeah. Just say yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's yups. Say yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard to get good help these days.
Step into Bob's rounds.
Hey!
We're back.
Home.
Either
Home.
if you're listening to this, either we're back
Oi! We're back. Oh.
or this is the beginning of
The end.
indeed.
Yeah, I gotta try.
Life as you know it.
Oh my God,
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
they are. This is our. We're gonna talk about Iron Fist. This is a
Iron
special.
Are we
episode.
really?
Yeah, we're gonna give it a shot.
Alright.
This music is too funky for this.
It's Marvel. It's
Iron Fist.
Leave it
Netflix.
on, baby. Leave it on.
How could it go wrong?
Reminds me of the 70s Spider-Man shows.
It does. It's got. It's too much production, but it's almost there. It's got that going on.
This is like the first
Sounds like a Kanye sample.
It does.
Wonder Woman where she was
Oh,
blonde.
Oh, the Lindsay Wagner one.
Yeah, like Lindsay Crosby or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Denise Crosby.
Yeah.
Denise Crosby? Marie Crosby.
It was a Crosby. I know
Yeah,
that.
that show sounds better than Iron Fist. Though. Can we watch that? All right. So.
All right. Well, I'll just kick it off by saying that it's terrible.
All right.
Kathy Lee Crosby.
Kathy.
Sorry.
Good work, buddy.
He's
Good work.
quick.
I'm glad you looked that up. So let's just do this. Let's set this up. I finished watching it. You finished watching it, Dom?
Yep.
What episode are you up to? Dan?
I'm up to episode 8.
That's the voice of Dan Evans, in case you don't know.
I am in the middle of episode 8.
That's Edward O'Hare.
I finished before you did.
There you go. I'm not going to make any sexual innuendos about that statement.
Well, you kind of just
Because we're family, and I won't go there.
Okay.
Okay.
you kind of just did.
I kind of did, though, right?
It wasn't a
Um,
contest, Bob.
I'm sorry.
In which case, I'm in last.
That's just because you suck, Ed.
I have a feeling that tune has made many sexual innuendos come to light. You need that. Damn it. Damn it.
Damn it. That's the. Never mind. That's the wrong show. All right.
Oh, boy.
That's the last little bit. All right.
That's
so,
the preacher show that we do.
Ooh, remember that? All right. So.
Creature.
Tom's kicking it off already a little bit. So now, people in the chat room, we're gonna try not to get too spoilery, but overall, we'll see how that goes because we're all at a different level here.
Yeah.
And, Dan's not too worried about spoilers. He's
No,
already read
I've
ahead.
already
He
read it,
knows
yeah.
what goes on. Ed at the table is the only one we have reservations about.
Yeah.
The people in the chat room, hey, if you want to, jump out, go ahead, whatever.
Spoiler warning! Spoiler warning!
Oh, yeah, I got
Oh, I don't want to hear spoilers!
Warning.
So good.
Well,
yeah.
since I'm gonna leave the room in a minute,
All right,
Let
where
me-
do you want to start?
Let me just give it a little detailed overview of my opinions of the show.
Yeah, let's hear how you see it.
This show sucks.
Continue, I guess. Or is that it?
Yeah, well,
That's
no.
that it.
I think the main problem here is that the,
The
show.
main problem?
Yes.
You can hold. You
That
can
the show
hold-
exists? Is that what you're about? Is that what
No,
you're
no,
about
it's
to get
not that the show exists. There's
the Philcom dance
there's
face.
potential here,
Okay.
but
to? There is. You're right.
yeah, the problem is that the show does not know what it is.
And it doesn't have enough Rosario Dawson for me.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like
You
how
might
his
change your
voice
mind about
cracked.
that after episode 8.
I love Rosario Dawson.
so
I think it's got too
Yeah,
much Rosario
because
Dawson.
if you look at the well, because she's the only thing that's working in that show. So
It's
far.
got more of her than
Until
she.
you get to the fight scenes, Ed.
Yeah. Well.
Then with those little cat claw things, I was like,
Well.
But
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, the thing I was going to say,
Yeah.
if you look at the other Netflix shows, there's a defined subgenre. There's something that they're going for. Like, Daredevil is a hard-out crime action thriller.
Okay.
Jessica Jones is a good old-fashioned hard-boiled noir.
Yeah.
And Luke Cage is a classic '70s blaxploitation film.
Classic's putting a lot on it, but no, yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's the vibe they're going
Yeah,
for.
that's the vibe that they're going for. Here, I don't know what vibe they're going for. And you get the sense that the creators don't know either, so they're throwing all of this filler out
Yeah.
to keep up time until they could figure out what to do with these
And-
characters.
In all honesty, I could give two shits about the guy that plays Danny Rand. You know, he was also on Game of Thrones, and he was good
Yeah.
on Game of Thrones. But this, I mean, I don't know if it's the writing. I don't know if it's. I mean, I like the show. I'm still watching it. But as him as a character, I like.
He doesn't sell it.
No, not in the least bit. And
And
that's my biggest issue.
I think part of the reason that he can't sell this is because the writing sucks, and the fight scenes. Evidently, he's learning 5 minutes before they
The
shoot
fight
it.
scenes are awful.
Yeah, it's
Because-
all cuts. You know,
Right.
you don't see anything develop.
Yeah, as an editor, it's got to drive you nuts.
It
right?
does. I mean, like going from
wait till
The-
like the
the-
last 3 episodes.
the first season of Daredevil when they hit that episode 2, just episode 2 alone, that 7-minute fight scene in the
Yeah.
hallway
Yeah.
was lights out. I mean,
That was
Grant.
stellar. That's like
Yeah, Grant
I-
said it on 7 Days a Geek. He went back and watched it like 3 or 4 times. I did the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, holy shit, that is one take.
Yeah.
That is one shot. That is one take. That is phenomenal.
Right.
And then they did it again in season 2 when they did the stairway one.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
like, and you have that, and it's so good. And you have Danny Rand, who's supposed to be the Iron Fist, this kung fu thing. And it's like cut. Like, wait, what? Wait, who's moving?
You
What
get
happened?
You get a 40-second fight, and it feels like it was probably shot from like 37 different angles.
Well,
Well, there is a count on one scene where
54 cuts.
he's where he's in the file room.
Yeah.
If you've gotten to it, where he runs into a guy, he's got to go get a folder
Yeah.
because it's high drama. You know, and
Oh yeah.
it's
Oh, for
like
the
a
broken
short
arm, yeah.
fight scene, but it's like 54 cuts. It's almost as bad as
Yeah,
that
it's like
fence
a
jump.
30-second scene, and
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's a thing where it's like, so does this mean, like, are we doing that many edits to hide how rough the kung fu is, or is it just a matter of saying like, that's what, like, you know, as a showrunner, like, I think we should be doing right there. Like it's
Yeah,
poor
that's-
choices.
It is a lot of poor choices, and it's one of those things where, you know, like, you know, I don't know if it's they're hiding the fact that he doesn't know what he's doing, or if they're hiding the fact that it's a stunt person.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like
It feels like it's
every time an action scene comes up, I just go back to the Orgasmo. Did you ever see the movie Orgasmo?
No.
The guys from South Park made this
Sure.
movie called
Yeah,
Orgasmo.
I saw
it's
it on
hysterically funny.
It's
I
very
saw
funny.
it on the shelf of the video store, VHS, always thinking it was a superhero movie, and then my mother telling me I can't get it, and I didn't understand why.
There's a one point where they're like, because he's a Mormon who's into porn,
Right.
and so they have to have a stunt cock come in. So it's like, all right, cut, stunt cock, you know. So it's like every time I see a cut, I'm like, in my head, I go, stunt cock. You know?
That's it. That's it, though. Or it's like there's times where he's doing kung fu stuff, and I'm like, why would they leave that in?
Right.
Because it's so loose, or you can
Right.
tell it's like you know, it's a, you know, he's not landing that punch,
Right,
or
right.
he's dodging too far away, and it's
Right.
like, oh, they're leaving that in because the other shots were worse.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
that's
Well,
like
I think we got from everything I was reading after
Yeah.
I watched the whole season. It sounds like this whole thing was rushed from day one,
yeah.
and it was almost an afterthought. With the Defenders being the more important thing
Right.
than this show.
Right.
Right.
So the writing was horrid from frame one.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Finn Jones's fault. I think they chose him because they thought he was going to be good, but then I think everything in the production went and was a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems
You
like
know? Because
Every-
none of the main. I'm sorry,
No, it's fine.
none of the main actors are martial artists.
Mhm.
No.
So they didn't plan it.
I feel like the girl who plays
it was going to
Colleen
be a
might
rushed
be.
thing because they
Right.
planned it like, okay, we're going to have to pick two good actors for the main roles, and we're going to have to teach them. Let's pick them as actors for their acting, and then let's teach them, and let's make it good. But
And
they
we all
didn't
know
have
Ray
time.
Park is
They even
way
had
too old.
Rosario doing it.
Yeah, and it looked horrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
All right,
and
so-
that's fine because at least her in the movie, she's supposed to be learning. She's taking
Right.
some weekend
Right.
classes from
Right.
Colleen. She's supposed to be rough.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like Colleen seems to the woman who plays Colleen seems to
Yeah.
pull off most of her stuff.
Right,
She's
exactly.
a little loose with the sword play.
Yeah.
That's a little iffy.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she seems like maybe she's got some background in it.
Right.
Whereas Finn, it just really feels like, are you sure this kid's the Iron Fist?
yeah.
I mean, like, are you sure? Because I'm not sure if I'm buying it.
I think I've made movies with my friends when we were kids and we were taking martial arts classes that
Yeah,
may have
probably.
pulled off better martial arts moves than they did. In
I kind of would believe it.
You
I
know.
kind of believe it.
Yeah.
All right. So, I could tell you guys want to jump into it. And
So,
get,
yeah, get
get
the
into the
fuck out.
spoiler territory. So I'm gonna
Where are you gonna go? There's nowhere to go.
I'm gonna go
You
on the
don't-
couch.
you don't have to go
and
anywhere.
I'm gonna plug in headphones and listen to something.
Are you really?
And when you guys
Okay.
are ready, because I honestly, I'm excited because I'm waiting for those the last episode when we get like the Daredevil reveal where we see him in the costume and actually get him to see him
Oh,
be
okay.
Iron Fist. So
Right, yes. You're
yeah,
excited
and
for that.
yes,
Well, that's good.
That's really that's like the reason I'm sticking around because
Okay.
I know that's happening. I know that's coming, and I don't want to get anything ruined for me. So
right. Could you telegraph this kick anymore?
yeah, so you
Okay.
you guys go do what you're gonna do.
Okay.
I'm gonna be on the couch and tap me on the shoulder when you're ready for
Yeah,
me to
I'll
come
wake
back.
you up in a half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I really liked Luke Cage, but I also felt there were times where they could have actually probably taken Luke Cage and Danny Rand and
Yeah.
and made Heroes for Hire
yeah.
and done that as because there were some episodes of Luke Cage that were just a lot of exposition, a lot
Yeah,
of build up,
or a little
and
drawn
like
out.
do we have to see the same, like how many times do we have to see these guys in the hospital? I mean, the fact that in episode 2, like between episode 1 and episode 2, we spent so much freaking time in the hospital. Like,
I felt
come
like
on.
I felt like one of the
I
things
never
they
finished it.
on Luke Cage.
I was never able to finish it. I just couldn't
Yeah.
get through it.
Yeah.
Now that I've seen Iron Fist, I'll definitely go back because I want to
Yeah.
watch Defenders,
Yeah.
knowing the whole package.
Yeah.
But I really, at the time when it was like first coming out, I really didn't
Yeah.
have too much time in my hands.
But
and
Just didn't
I
end
think
up
if
back
they'd
at it.
taken both of those stories,
I
and
feel like
put
that's
them together,
I feel like if this series
Yeah.
had kind of started with Danny
Yeah.
showing up at
yeah,
or at the last episode even
right,
had
right.
him knocking on Luke's door
yeah,
looking for heroes.
yeah,
At least that.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
maybe we'll see next time we see them.
Yeah.
It's a joint thing.
Yeah.
It's not Defenders. It's not Luke. It's not
yeah.
his series. It's like some joint little mini series. But I feel like, one of the things that they did okay was the fact that, like, okay, the whole I end up in a loony bin. My world may not really be real. I might be crazy. They did that up front in the beginning
Yeah.
as opposed to later on.
yeah,
Which I kind of get because from a story point, it's like, okay, I can see how that could
Yeah.
happen in New York.
yeah.
forgot
You
that they
come
even
back,
did that.
you're trying to reclaim
Yeah.
your identity, and people are like,
Yeah.
well, no, it's not you. We have no way to prove that.
Yeah.
And then you get 72 hours in the loony bin.
Like-
I've seen that,
Right.
not personally, but I think
Right.
that could happen.
Yeah, the execution on that sucked.
That's
No,
what it comes down to.
You
yeah.
know, on and like putting them in there. The two of them with the pills and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so cliched. All their conversations, Ward and what's her name again? Joy.
Joy.
All their conversations leading up to that together, the two of them, they were so horrible. Especially the guy who was playing Ward.
In the beginning,
Yeah.
it was hard
There's a
for
lot
me to
of-
give a crap about them at all. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of repetition in all the
Yeah.
writing throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
Again, I go back to the feeling like it just everything was rushed.
Yeah.
It had to have been.
I mean,
I don't place it on Finn. I place it on the production.
right? Yeah, I agree with you, and it's definitely in the writing. It's definitely in the development of it. And still, listen, I would take this over some of the shit that's on regular TV today anyway.
Yeah.
But you hear it in my voice. It's because
Yeah.
I feel like this is at that level.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
sad thing
because
this
the other
didn't-
shows have set the bar so high.
Exactly.
You
Other
know.
Marvel shows or even other Netflix shows, it doesn't feel like it takes advantage. There's a lot of F-bombs,
Right.
which is cool.
Right.
And there's some blood maybe here or
Yeah.
there, but it doesn't feel like it takes advantage of like,
Right.
oh, we could do something different here.
Right.
We're you know,
Like I'd love to see his Iron Fist go through somebody's body.
you know, are we gonna get that?
That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like you didn't.
I feel like
see
we won't ever get that. Like,
Yeah, I want to see more than like Danny Rand running around in cut off sleeves with his skinny arms showing out.
Yeah.
I want to see when he calls on the Iron Fist. One, I want to see like in the footage that they show early on of the earlier Iron Fist, the black and white footage.
Yeah,
he-
yeah.
He's
Who's that
got,
guy? Let's learn about
He's
that
got
guy.
two fists
Right,
that are
yeah.
lighting up. So I want to see this development in Danny. We didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
You know, we just got the angry little kid who has
Yeah.
this special power, doesn't really know how to use it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that all comes down to the story.
He seems such like the writing. He makes Danny such a petty character.
Well, he goes back and forth
Yeah.
too.
Right.
He's
Like,
a little
I'm the Iron
whiny.
Fist. I'm not the Iron
Right.
Fist. I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And I get that he's supposed to be a little wishy-washy, but it doesn't
Dude.
feel like
And
realistic.
he should
But-
just
but the
feel
same sto-
unsure. He shouldn't become wishy-washy.
Right.
Right.
And that's the problem. It goes over the deep end with
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And that's part of what gives it a very 80s feel.
Yeah.
There's that, the poor choreography, everything. You know what I mean? It comes together to make you feel like it was Andy Sedaris' production or what's his name, Belisaris?
Belisario.
From
One of these
from
guys,
A-Team,
Cannon. The Cannon.
Cannon.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
You
Stephen J. Cannell.
Stephen J.
Yeah.
Cannell.
Good times. Good times.
Yeah.
Dom's like, who?
No, I know what you're talking about. It was before me, but yeah, I get
I'm aware.
it. Yeah, no, man. Just rough.
Bless you, my son. So one of the characters that grew on me, oddly enough, I hated from the jump was Ward. That like he ends up being like the
Yeah.
only character that actually
Yeah,
really gets an arc.
Well,
Yeah.
that guy, the
Yeah.
actor is really. He was on Banshee on
Okay.
Cinemax.
Yeah.
And he was really good on that.
Well, that's a show that kind of
Yeah.
plays tongue in cheek a little bit
Yeah.
in camp
Right.
to a degree.
To a degree, but he was
not full on hard,
right.
but it's
That's the one-
Showtime and it's
no,
a
not
little over
not
the top.
Outcast. That was Banshee was the one.
That's the guy that comes in. He's
Yeah.
like ex-con, right?
Yeah, he's an ex-con
Yeah,
that
yeah.
comes in and
Right, right,
Becomes
right.
and
a
he
sheriff
and he
for the
he
small
shows
town.
up. That guy, the guy plays Ward, shows up in like season 3 or 4, and he is an ex-skinhead
Okay,
on like trying to reform himself.
because I've seen him in other stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
so he
I
was
think-
really
was
good.
he
in that.
Was he in the Mighty Ducks? Like when he was younger? I feel like I knew him from something. when
You'd
he was
know
like a
better than
teenager.
I would. You'd
I feel
know.
like I've seen him in something as a teenager.
Dan's gonna look it up because Ed is on a couch
Yeah.
not participating.
So I'm gonna look this up.
But one of
Yeah.
the things, so like, he at first is, and even when he's like kind of like got stuff to do, like it's still a little like campy or whatever, a little hokey delivery, but at least he's like got a reason to freaking well up in his face and have fucking emotions. Whenever Danny's got to do something that is supposed to be like an emotion of any kind,
Right.
I don't buy any of it. Whether it's his rage or his confusion or any of it, like it just doesn't sell for me.
Yeah, I can't help but feel that Ward is going to end up being a evil superhero, he's going to get
Supervillain.
super villain
Yeah, at some point he can easily morph into something
because
like that. Yeah,
he's becoming such a tortured person with everything that's
Yeah.
going on with his father and his sister.
yeah.
I think by the end though they kind of
Make it like
resolved it where like he's cool with Danny now and he knows that he was just acting up because of his dad.
there were scenes early on where
Yeah.
it was him and the sister, and we were spending so much time with them. I started to feel like, okay, I kind of saw the trajectory a little bit. I didn't dwell on it, but I kind of was like, oh, I bet you he'll kind of like go bad and come back around by the end. He'll change his mind or something, which is kind of like what they ended up doing. But those scenes in the beginning where like we're spending time with them as opposed to Danny, at first I was like, okay, this is just kind of how the Netflix shows kind of go a little bit, especially with the Marvel
Yeah.
stuff. We do spend more time with side characters than we would in like a network show.
Right.
We do fill up the background on them a little bit.
Yeah, well,
But
you're
this-
usually getting at least 10 minutes more show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But this started to feel like we're spending time with them because we got nothing to do with Danny.
right,
Like
and
we can't make Danny any more interesting this episode, so we're gonna spend time with these two.
and the whole thing with like him coming back and they're like, he's not Danny. I'm like,
How
why don't
wouldn't
you-
you
what-
be able to tell? You know
like,
what I mean? Like,
why don't you ask him a question about growing up with him?
Yeah.
Like
Right,
seriously,
yeah.
like
And still we gotta
how do
wait
you know?
4
Like,
episodes
seriously,
for that to happen.
yeah, seriously.
well, at one point they do. He does go off with Ward, and he's telling Ward all these things
Yeah,
that
he
only
used to- yeah.
Ward would know.
Yeah.
Right, and
Used
Ward
to
Dan,
keep
only
seeing the notes
Danny
all
would
the
know.
time.
But he decides. You know
Yeah.
what? No, I don't believe you.
Yeah,
Well, I
because
think
he
at that
doesn't
point,
want
though-
him to. He doesn't want him to.
He knows it's him.
Yeah,
Right.
he doesn't
And
want to
yeah.
come back and take money.
That scene in
I
the
feel
car,
like
Right,
yeah.
right.
I feel like that's a thing too that might go over a few over some people's heads, like where
Mhm.
he was
Yeah.
kind of playing that. Like now knowing after seeing the whole season where Ward ends up mentally, like he might have known from the jump that it was Danny,
Yeah.
but he was just so selfish that he was playing it
Yeah,
the
he
other
was
way
he
the
knew
whole
early.
time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like yeah,
he knew early on. He just didn't. He just decided.
It was
that
really-
if it is Danny.
He didn't want it
I
to
don't
be
care.
if anything, it makes
because
Joy
it's,
a fucking.
It's going to be about money.
Right.
It's going to cost me money, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, we
be-
can't have him come back from the
Yeah.
dead. You know, that's
Yeah.
not going to go over well.
Joy was the one that was on the fence, back and forth,
Yeah.
and I kind of wish that she would have gotten on one side of the fence a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Because by the time the M&Ms came around, I was like, all right, I'm kind of done.
As soon as I
Yeah.
saw the M&Ms, I'm like,
Now-
here we go.
Now, since I'm only on 8, I mean, there's some things that, I mean, I just read over tertiary stuff. Like, I read over the breakdowns real quick. I mean, does it go into it all, like, any more about his parents' background with the hand at all? Or, or is, like,
You
or,
think it-
like, how does, like,
It does a little.
who really was the one that got the hand involved? Was it Ward's father, or
Yeah.
was it...
Well,
Yeah,
You
you'll
know.
get that answer
Okay.
in a couple more
Do
episodes.
you get that though?
it's
I feel
Yeah.
like you don't
Because it
really
doesn't-
get it.
you get that there was a time where this kind of started. You don't really get the idea of what was the nature of this deal back in the days,
Right.
But you do know
Because
they were
then you-
all tied together.
because-
No,
Now, was it really-
because you get what's her name saying at one point
Madame
that
Gao?
Madame Gauch, that we realized that early on that we if we were gonna like infiltrate Rand, we were gonna have to do it with Meacham and not with Rand. That's
Right.
why that's why we had to get rid of the Rands.
Right.
And well, it was your mother, and then I'm like, this is her giving him saying shit.
Yeah, and it's
But-
that thing too where it's like it's they didn't need that layer because now the whole thing is just so steeped in convenience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, not only did the clandestine ninja group somehow get involved with the company that your parents own, we
Yeah.
managed to crash the plane by
Right.
convenience in the Himalayas in the same area.
Yeah,
you know that you'd get rescued by these monks that
Yeah.
happen to be the natural enemy
enemy of the hand.
of the hand.
Right.
Well,
Like, it's this
one would
whole-
argue
There's-
that the reason why they even went after him in the first place is because they somehow knew that he was left alone because of something that the hand did.
Yeah, I sort of get these hints
But
that like
that
both-
even that is stretching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's,
So you guys are discussing something that for me it was just like, well, that's how it was in the comic book. It was bad as
Right.
a trope as it is now. That's
Oh, no,
just
yeah.
how it was. So it's like, okay,
Well,
that's
that's the
how it
thing,
is,
like, I don't-
and I just accept it because
yeah.
I
don't
grew up
know
with
if-
crappier versions of that kind of stuff going
Well,
on
absolutely,
TV.
but that's why
you
it
know?
stuck out to me because it feels like this very basic trope of let's just make it all interconnected, and I don't know if that's really like how it is in the comics. If the hand is completely responsible for his parents' death, like like I don't know. I just feel like even if that was in the comics, I would have been like, no, let's just not even.
but I thought
Go
by the
there.
end, though. I mean, you sure you don't care?
I don't care.
Okay, but I thought by the end that they kind of made it seem, and I use the phrase "made it seem" because they feel like they don't really say it outright.
They give you just
That,
enough,
like,
yeah.
What's his name? I want to say Walter, but the father, the Meacham father,
Oh, I forget. Fucking, we're
Harold?
gonna go.
Harold.
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 Yeah, there
Yeah,
you
it's
go.
some like oddball name.
Yeah.
That, like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But
Harold. Very
Yeah.
oddball.
nah, just like
I
you know.
know.
But I feel like they made it seem that he was the one really behind killing Danny's parents.
Well, that's the thing too. They
Yeah.
play it both ways almost, where it's like, oh, because he poisoned the pilots,
Right.
because he's responsible for that angle of it, even though the hand put him up to it,
Mhm.
he's just as culpable.
Yeah.
Or it's like one is as good as the other. But it was this whole thing where it was just like,
And and then they bring in this like other hand, this like hand B.
Yeah.
the,
With
lighter,
the nice
the,
hand.
the lighter hand, yeah, the softer hand.
It's just
So-
a mess.
Oh, the
And-
guys with the axes, or is there?
Well,
Yeah,
here's
but
the
that
thing.
well, yeah, but that the thing with that though really is that it's them being nice publicly, so that they can brainwash kids to become
Well,
foot
here's
soldiers.
the thing: is that spoiler alert. The one twist that's in there, which ends up not being a twist, it's just kind of done for a cool factor, for a sense, is it turns out that Colleen
Mhm.
is a hand. but not like the hand. It's like this offshoot of the hand that wants to shut down the hand. So when he finds out, it's like, you lied to me, and she's like, yeah, but like only like 50%.
Not
like,
really a full
you
lie.
know, I'm not like lying and like completely evil. We're like evil light. You know what I mean? Basically, so what it is
There's no
it's,
freaking lasers on their heads.
but it's one of these things where like here's a cool idea, but then we have to dial it back. So it's like, let's make her the bad guy, working for the bad guys, because that's a cool reveal. But we like her. We can't have her really be a bad guy.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way to make that like a thing,
Yeah,
but not
like
a thing.
When Bendow comes by or
But
whatever. his
isn't-
name is.
Buko or whatever his name
But
is.
doesn't Danny Rand in the comics have a love interest who was formerly of the Hand? Is that
I mean, it's possible. I mean,
I thought that was Daredevil with
I was gonna say.
Elektra.
No, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
the
that's-
case over there.
the same guy, isn't it? I mean, basically it's the same story.
It's
Except one's blind,
kinda.
one's lost.
Yeah, one was trained locally on rooftops. The other guy ran up and down mountaintops. So there is that point, but yeah, it just feels like one of these things where it was like, oh, it's a matter of convenience, and then no big deal. Like what I mean? We'll just dial it back, and it's just like all these other things that are kind of like in here that they're considered because they're cool, and then they take it back away. So it's like, yeah, it's a twist. And for a second, I'm like, okay, didn't really expect that.
Yeah.
But then they immediately pull it back away from you. So it doesn't really mean anything in the end. What it does is it sets up to have like another layer of issue or people to take care of, to handle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not the Hand, it's this other group. So it's a late in the game.
Yeah, because I was
you know-
right around that area where
Buko pops up.
Buko
and-
pops up because she'd gotten poisoned. And call my sensei. Call
yeah,
my sensei.
and he knows everything.
Yeah, it's like, who is this dude?
And Danny doesn't. And that's the other thing too. Like Danny. So now let's map this out.
Yeah.
Danny has this when he's in Kunlun has this trial
You're right.
to fight the dragon.
Right.
He fights the dragon. He gets the Iron Fist, but now the whole point of the Iron Fist is to guard the doorway.
Yeah, guard to the doorway.
But Danny's
to
training's not finished. So what we're
Right.
going to do is we're going to give this kid the Iron Fist. He's not done training,
Yeah.
and we're going to put him in a position where he's supposed to be doing
Yeah.
the most important job in this whole area.
Yeah.
So what about this doesn't really add up? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
a matter of convenience. Like, we don't want Danny to be like full Iron Fist yet. We
Yeah,
want to play
but-
with that and build towards that in season 2. And meanwhile, it's
But
like,
he's already
but-
supposed to be like. That's the question. I'm like, how the fuck did he get back to the States?
And they almost kind of hint at this.
Exactly.
And they almost kind of hint at this thing where, like, maybe he really kind of wasn't supposed to get the Iron Fist. Like, anytime sometimes some people are like, "Oh, but you're the Iron Fist," and he's like, "Yeah, but like, I kind of like tripped into it." Like,
And that's cool though. That's a cool
kind of like twist on it.
twist
like,
where
maybe-
like maybe
but-
he accidentally killed the guy who was
Like,
supposed to be Iron Fist. But
he
do
came
that.
at me
Show
and
it
I
to us.
tripped and he fell off the cliff, so
Right.
I became the Iron Fist.
I landed on the baby dragon, and that's why I have this tattoo. It's actually just a burn.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is it? It doesn't, like
Yeah.
Ed was saying earlier, it doesn't know what it really wants to be, and that's
Yeah.
not even about like the theme or the tone.
no.
It's like what kind of
Yeah.
the thing it's missing most is a fucking personality.
Yeah.
You're right. You're 100%.
You know what I mean? The
right.
show
Right.
doesn't have a tone. I was talking to Dom earlier about this. The music in it
Right.
is like straight lift from Mr. Robot
Yep.
and
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And they're not even sure about that at times because they put it in and then they dial it down right away.
Well, that's the thing, right? So I was talking to Dom. I was like, what was my reason for thinking they pulled all the music out?
Oh, because they didn't want to get too much like into.
I was afraid that maybe what they had done was like put like a lot of gongs, a very Asian feel maybe in the original score,
Yeah.
and they did a last minute pullout once some of this heat started generating online because the music feels like like there's no real theme that runs through the episodes. Like it's not considered, but every
Right.
now and then, like Bob said, like they'll have this kind of not keyboard like
It's like a
Like a
synth.
synthesizer.
very
Yeah.
synth
Yeah.
kind of sound
Yeah.
coming in, and then they pull it right back down.
Right.
Like you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
you
Like,
start to hear it, and then as soon as you notice it, it's gone.
like when they go to China and they're
Yeah.
they're attacking the warehouse in China.
Which, by the
It's
way,
like-
looks like Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think
Yeah.
literally
Same
had the
thing.
Gotham
I didn't.
Bridge.
I was like an episode deep to them being in China, and like
Didn't realize you were in China. Like,
Right.
Rosario Dawson's like says like a quick joke about it, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot they were there.
Yeah, it was. It was not that well thought out or well put together, and it was really, you know,
You could literally see them building one of the bridges.
Oh,
that's-
it's a full-on
there's-
shot.
There's a here on Staten Island. Okay.
No, oh yeah.
There are.
Yeah,
for
I was like-
listeners who don't know, right now on Staten Island, they're actually building replacement and side-by-side companion bridges. And Staten Island is obviously it's an island, so everywhere you have access, you have bridges. So there's 3 bridges. They're all being built up right now. So you could see in the shot that they're actually building these bridges alongside
They start
the existing
scene
bridges.
on the bridge, like it's a shot
Yeah.
of the bridge,
Yeah.
and then they pan back or down to the
Yeah.
3 of them sitting, off to the side on the car, chilling, waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the Gothel's freaking bridge.
Yeah.
It looks like I was thinking it might be the Bayonne, but it might be the
Bayonne.
Gothels.
Well, either
Because the
way,
Bayonne, they're building another bridge alongside. They're lifting it up,
right?
so you have a deck underneath and a deck on
You
top.
do have this really weird.
So I don't know if it's a
unusual
side by side.
Yeah.
visual.
I see
right.
I see 2 layers though. So for me, I'm thinking it might be actually the Bayonne.
Fair enough.
But whatever
The point
it is,
you can
the
tell it's
point
New York
is-
City.
Yeah.
It's not
so
China.
I'm thinking, okay, so they're over there they're over in Jersey somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So immediately, they were just on a plane,
Yeah.
but we forgot because it doesn't look like China at all.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I was talking to my friend at work, and he was like, "Oh wait, they were." It's just like that.
And
I'm
they're
like,
driving
yeah, they were in China.
driving a European car in China.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
But
No, they're driving a South Korean car in China.
well, because that
A
was
Hyundai.
yeah.
It was-
was it
Oh, that was
that?
It was a
okay.
Hyundai.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a Hyundai SUV.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I was thinking it was a Porsche SUV. I wasn't really paying attention.
No.
So the show is consistently okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any
Right.
real high points. Like how with Daredevil season 1 and 2,
Yeah.
there were things like immediately I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you about episode. I want to ruin episode 4 for you. I want
Yeah.
to ruin the Punisher stuff for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Luke Cage, the fight at the end, I could get into,
Right.
but whatever.
Yeah.
With this, it's like, what's the high point?
Yeah, like and I read something recently where they really should have focused on the brother sister aspect of Luke Cage, and they spent all that freaking time on what, Copperhead or what? I forget
Yeah.
his name.
Well,
and it was like
to get into all that.
yeah, but I mean, the one thing that I loved about Luke Cage, and going back to music again,
sure.
the soundtrack for
Yeah.
Luke Cage was
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
we spoke
so
about that
well
earlier,
done.
Mike.
Yeah,
You know,
and this just they don't.
This is lacking on so many different
It's like
levels.
it tried to do the hip hop thing, like in the first 2 episodes, and
And
then they
then
were
gave
like,
up.
"Wait, we already did that with Luke Cage." All right, never mind.
and instead it's
Let's
like
do nothing
And then when
now.
they come back to it, like in episode 6 or 7,
Yeah.
because Danny's at this dojo, he's not
Yeah.
supposed
Yeah.
to be there,
And
but he wakes her up. Like they play
I-
some track that no
and-
one's ever
and
heard.
like with
That's
Jessica
after
Jones.
they get together that night. He wakes up and he's
Yeah.
doing.
Right.
And with Jessica Jones, you have such a great villain in
Yeah.
the Purple Man. I
Yes.
mean, I'm not a big fan of Kristen. What's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's all
Kristen
right.
Ritter.
Kristen Ritter. I
Yeah.
think she's all right.
She's all right. Yeah.
But David Tennant as the Purple Man.
He's
Yeah.
the show.
He is the
Yeah.
show. He was phenomenal.
It's
Yeah.
hard to think that they're going to do another season of that show.
I know. It's
without
like
him,
he's
Yeah.
gone. But is he?
Yeah.
Mm.
You know,
and
it
that's
is
the thing.
Marvel.
And
And it
it's,
is, yeah.
It's in their best interest to not make him be.
Yeah.
But and
That's
going
the-
back to my point
Mhm.
earlier with the hip hop, that's cool. They could have done it again, and it would have been fine. It wouldn't have been like
Yeah.
there's other variations of hip hop that you can play on. Like they tried to do the grimy New York type rap for Luke Cage. They could have done something else for Iron Fist. They're both I haven't read much on Heroes for Hire,
Right.
but I did a
But-
few years ago, and they're both basically even though one's white, one's black, they're both mentally in the same lane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're both cool. They both listen to rap.
They're both
and stuff,
inner
so
city. They're both
why
hip
not
to
do
it.
that shit?
The music was actually very different because what he's listening to is early rap.
Right. It's
Yeah.
the stuff from 15
From
years
when he was
ago.
a
when
kid.
He was a kid.
Luke Cage.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, not
No,
the kid.
no,
No,
In this.
Danny.
And
Because
Danny.
he's walking around with that old iPod.
Yeah,
that
but
shouldn't
Luke
be
Cage
working.
listened to Wu Tang and
Yeah.
fucking.
Well, that's what I would.
Yeah.
Bob's making a point, but I was going to
He was
counterpoint
listening
to
to
about
Outkast.
that. But
Right. Well, okay. Wu Tang would be the exception but for the most part, what Luke is listening to is more current.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it bounces around. It bounces
Okay. Well,
around.
but
here's
fair
the
enough. I didn't finish the season, so
But fair enough. The music
That's
in
probably why.
this should have felt more dated, though,
Right.
because that's
Right.
where
Right.
because where it
Right.
should have been. Like it should have
Yeah,
been. Like,
yeah. It could have. It definitely
Outkast?
could have felt more
It
dated.
should have been 15 years. I mean,
Yeah.
was that
But
album
one thing-
2002?
I don't even know.
But one thing I did like though that I don't know if you noticed, it's very subtle. Like when he's plugging in that what you would think is an iPhone,
Yeah.
it's like a first generation
iPod.
iPod.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
But how's it still working after 15 freaking years? You know.
Well, that's it.
He's the
Yeah,
Iron
where's
Fist.
he charging it on
Yeah.
another astral plane?
Well, here's the thing.
Right.
I hate to be devil's advocate, but when my mom and dad, when we crashed a plane, the first thing I do is I grab my iPod,
Yeah.
and then once the charge goes, it just sits under the shoebox underneath my bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until I get back to New York, and I can plug it in again. You know what I mean? So basically, it just sits. I'm sure the battery, that
Oh, because it
lithium
was sitting
battery.
in snow.
Yeah. I'm sure it's
You know,
perfectly
it's
preserved.
perfectly. Yeah.
Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I'm
Nothing to
sure
worry
he
about.
just had to go to a dollar store and grab one of those cheap.
That thing would be
old
so
school-
stuck on getting updates. Like
Yeah.
it would still be. That's what they should have played.
Yeah.
Like for 4
Yeah.
episodes as a running gag. Like,
Yeah.
this thing is still updated. Jesus, when is this thing gonna done? Episode 5. It's still
iTunes
updated.
won't even recognize it anymore.
Right.
But just before we wrap it up
Yeah.
with this, though, like
Mhm.
my biggest nitpick about the whole thing was how little we see the actual Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we didn't get to that.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
and
think
then
we were
they-
trying to shield that because
Mhm.
Dan didn't finish
Yeah.
the season yet. But
Yeah.
No. I mean,
He probably knows exactly
You
how
see
it
it.
ends, though.
I'm just spitballing, obviously. But
Mhm.
I'd actually like to go back and watch and take note of how many times you actually see the fist light up. 'Cause it's gotta-
do rid of the thing because he's all jigged up.
Yeah,
It's all
exactly.
plot convenience
Oh,
too.
It's
It's
gotta
like,
be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be like you.
I
You gotta
can't
count
sit
on
on my
your fingers how many times he's done it.
yeah, like you said,
it's
7
it's
times maybe the whole
yeah, I
thing.
was thinking maybe half a dozen times.
Yeah.
And it's all plot convenience too. It's like
Yeah.
it doesn't work when we don't want it to work
Yeah.
because I can't focus. But somehow when I need to break out of handcuffs, it'll work.
Well,
Even so the pills were affecting me, and I couldn't do it. But suddenly, when I needed to, even though the pills were
Yeah,
affecting
right.
me, I could do it.
It's all about trying to figure out ways to kind of like keep the character. This is the problem with some storytelling. It's like here's a guy who's really powerful or whatever, but we need him to kind of like not be able to use that as a resource in order for this scene to happen. Because otherwise, we
Yeah.
go right through that scene, then fucking write it that way.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That would be
No,
interesting
no.
is to see
ahead.
heroes use their powers in smaller, more mundane, everyday ways.
right.
So that maybe like we don't have to have a 10-minute conversation that we know he wouldn't sit through because he can just look through the documents from across the table with his X-ray vision or something.
Right. Well,
Like, you know what
I
I mean?
mean, like,
Yeah,
again,
like a couple walnuts on the table.
Fair enough.
You
I don't
know?
know what that means. But
Well, no, put a couple walnuts on the table, and then
needs
you
to
get
crush him.
oh, yeah, literally, right. You know.
I mean, like I've got kids, so I watch a lot of Disney XD, and they had the Spider-Man series on there with
Yeah.
where they had the Iron Fist, and he
Yeah.
was a more compelling,
Yes.
like a minor, more compelling character on a kid's cartoon because it was well written,
Yeah.
and he
And
was
it's like,
you know.
And this character could be pretty badass if you write him right.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah.
they would have just said, okay, Danny Rand comes in here knowing how to use his powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing,
But because he's been taught martial arts and he's been taught by Buddhist monks,
Mm-hmm.
he can only use it in certain situations, and he's only going to use them in certain dire situations. He's got all these other things at his disposal, and we can make him a real cool-looking badass.
Right.
That his best power is one that he only uses sparingly, but he's got all these other abilities that
Yeah.
could be more almost superhuman on a martial arts level. If they would have done something like that right from the beginning,
Right. And he
he's a lot cooler character. He's more David Carradine, Kung Fu kind of.
but even
Where he
even
doesn't
his-
wanna fight.
even his fighting, like
Yeah.
just he.
I'm gonna
Yes,
say-
and-
yes. They would have had to take a year to teach Finn martial arts,
Yeah. But
and also not to just single out Finn, but what's her name, Jennifer Hathaway?
the girl that plays Colleen.
right,
Yeah, the girl
right,
that
right,
plays Colleen. So.
Yeah.
This headphones go all whack.
I'm going to say something that might get me in trouble, but I
Go
think
for it.
next to the writing, the biggest issue with the actual character of Iron Fist Danny Rand is the fact that they cast a British actor.
Because you were saying you were having
And-
some, you felt like that was
and
sometimes a thing.
Like, his accent comes through every once in a while. I've only seen Finn Jones in Game of Thrones, and I really don't know what else he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that he can't pull off a American accent in another role, but it was kind of bleeding through in this one, and I think that Danny Rand's just the type of like New York street kid that maybe a British guy wouldn't be able to really nail down.
Well, here's the
you
thing
know.
too.
Why doesn't he have a little bit of an accent from
Kunlun.
spending 15 years in Kunlun?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking only
exactly.
Mandarin.
And
And that's
something-
just a character
Yeah.
problem, even dating back to the comics.
And I feel like
'cause it's
there's some things in there because he's been gone for 15 years. Like everything, like there's certain things he does. Like
Yeah.
he shouldn't. Why does he know that? How does he?
How does he know about an iPhone so quickly?
You know what I mean? And he's
Yeah.
not having any kind of issues with it. We couldn't have fun with that.
Yeah.
We couldn't have some fish out of water trying
Well,
to reacclimate to New York City.
I think
To be
that's
fair,
something that
though-
goes to the rush factor I was talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Because they're not thinking things through.
Yeah.
They're just. And I think what's happening here is it was such a rush thing that you're getting like first draft scripts being
Kinda how it
used
feels, yeah.
Right.
used as actual scripts.
We're worrying about the bigger pictures,
Right,
making these pieces
right.
move. Forget these little fucking
Right.
nuanced things.
Because
Yeah.
this a lot of this is stuff that would have and should have gotten edited out of the
Yeah.
in the process of
Right.
writing a script.
And,
rewriting.
and why did they have to make it 13 episodes? I mean,
Well, that's just
seriously,
been
like
the deal.
you could have.
I've
You
been saying about
seriously
every
could
one
have
of
done
these.
it 8 episodes. I mean, I understand you don't have enough content. Don't you know? You
Do
know,
10
Do
would be
10.
perfect.
10
for
would have been
these.
perfect. 8 would have been even better. Just
For this particular one, yeah,
tighten
8
it up,
would have
just
been really good.
Tighten
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand that because the idea was they did Daredevil and then they greenlit Jessica Jones.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, we're going to do the Defenders. Oh shit! Now we have to go back and get, Iron Fist and
Right, right,
Luke,
right.
Luke Cage
So
and,
everybody's
Iron
getting
Fist
13,
done, and
you know.
so everybody's gonna get 13, and I'm like, again, going back to my
Yeah.
topic before, they could have done the Heroes for Hire
Right.
thing, but
right.
They want to build
Well, hopefully,
all these things.
out
Put
of
things-
these, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Hopefully, out of these 4, we don't just get the Defenders miniseries. Maybe
Yeah.
we get some other ones. Maybe we get an Elektra Daredevil
Yeah.
miniseries, 4 episodes. Maybe we get
just these other little kinds
yeah.
of mix
Or we
match.
get
Maybe,
Punisher,
maybe we get
so-
Heroes
Yeah,
for
I-
Hire as a 4-episode
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Or
You
or
know?
a thing where it's Daredevil and just Danny,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's some
Do-
ninja story kind of thing.
Yeah, you could
Mix
even
them
do
up.
Jessica Jones all by herself, just as miniseries, because she's just doing investigations.
You know,
Yeah.
You know,
they
Yeah.
don't, but they won't play with the format.
The
They're
more
going
I-
to stick to this 13.
The more I think about it, as like we've all come to the consensus basically that they put this together with little time and they rushed it, they probably would have just been better off like
Introducing him and
not doing the season yet, coming out with Defenders a little bit earlier
Mhm.
and having a minute.
It's getting a
You know.
lot of
yeah,
and then build
make his
and then make his season after the
Right,
Defenders
right.
movie
Yeah.
comes
Yeah.
out,
Right.
make the character a question.
And then that gives you time where if people are reacting poorly to the casting of Finn Jones,
Yeah.
you fucking cast somebody else.
Yeah. Now, here's a question for you guys. Do you watch any of the other, like Marvel or DC shows on like Fox or ABC or anything? Like,
Yeah.
I still watch.
either.
I still watch
Yeah.
Agents of Shield.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I haven't watched. I
Yeah.
heard it's kind of gotten a little bit better this
Yeah.
season,
Yeah.
but I came in a little bit, dipped in and out.
They've had highs and lows. Like when they came out, the first season, the first 13 episodes
Of season 1?
of season 1 were
Oh,
pretty
no, they-
awful.
Oh, yeah, they were brutal.
When they tied it into
Once Captain
Winter
America,
Soldier,
yeah, once that came out,
that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then they were able to ride that into the next season, which
Yeah.
worked really well. But then they're trying to launch the Inhumans, and I
What is
don't
this,
know
season 5
how.
now?
that kind of
This
was like
season
their
4.
misstep.
4.
I think that was their like kind of misstep
Yeah,
in a way. I think that was kind of like forced on them, maybe.
yeah.
And now that that's all going to be its own thing again,
Well, because the Inhumans were supposed to be a movie.
right?
and
So
now-
that was their thing.
yeah.
That was their way to kind of tie it in. So now that that's off the grid, they're focusing more on comic-based stuff. So
Right.
supposedly it's a little better right
Because
now.
Inhumans is going to be
Its
on
own
the same,
series.
It's on the same
series.
channel,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're going to probably do.
But
But it was
CW
always
type
going
shit.
to have like very little connection anyway.
Legion.
So Legion, we could talk about that
Yes.
for a second.
Let's
But
bring Ed back for that.
well,
Right.
let's wrap this up real quick.
Well,
So the one thing I'll wrap up on is that as much as Ed has been saying that to me over the last 3 days, because I know it ends good. I know it ends with him getting the costume and this. He knows already that does not happen.
yeah.
And that's one of the greatest,
Yeah.
I think, proofs of them not knowing what they got.
Right.
Because, A, they're making you wait for shit that either happens at the end of the series or doesn't happen at all. So,
Right.
for instance, in the trailer, this big punch he does into the ground,
Mm-hmm.
boom, doesn't happen until like the last episode or 2.
Yeah.
And then in the very end, he doesn't get a costume.
No.
Which,
And I thought
to
maybe at
be
the very
fair-
least we'll see him in the monk robes because that was the same kind of green and
Yeah.
yellow. But,
To be fair, I mean the costume is like kind of over the top, like
Absolute-
typical
absolutely.
superhero corny
70s
costumes.
cheesy,
Yeah,
70s.
70s
It's
cheesy.
definitely 70s stuff.
But you got to do it. You got to make it, or just give him a different teal and yellow fucking suit. It doesn't have to be the one that we
That's-
know from the
yeah,
comics.
that's something
Just
I
keep
think
it-
if you're going to do it, you embrace it, and you do it up in this whole thing when he calls up the punch or something.
Does Luke
Old
Cage
school.
get the suit at the end? You guys can say it. I won't.
No, they-
but they kind of dodge it. But
He's
in
got a
his-
fucking
show-
corny ass suit too.
Well, no, because they
got,
show
like, that
that
helmet
in
and
the,
Yeah, they show that
in a flashback, they do this
they-
tongue-in-cheek
yeah.
thing where he ends up wearing the outfit by happenstance. It's like, oh, I need a shirt. I'm gonna grab this yellow
Right.
shirt
Okay.
from over here.
and then he
it's a
sees himself
clothesline.
he sees himself in a reflection. He goes, "Oh hell no!" And like you know,
Like it's not working. But he's got like the bands from the
Okay.
experiment and his headband.
I think I may have seen that. Is
That-
that
that-
might be
that-
early on? Yeah.
that's like around 4 or 5. I think
yeah,
you
I
might
might
have
have
hit
seen
that.
that.
when
I
he
might
breaks
have
out
seen
of
that.
prison.
yeah.
It's one of the cold things because they find this
Yes,
goofy
it's-
way
yeah,
of doing
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So it's like you accept it. Like there's a version of Danny Rand where he's not wearing like the green
Right.
fighting thing. He's wearing like an Adidas outfit, like a form fitting kind of like Adidas outfit style thing, which was like something that Marvel doesn't really settle on. But it's a look, it's a style that like you could have found a way.
Yeah, he's wearing he's at some point he's wearing a puffy vest with a
Yeah.
hoodie.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like he kind of feeds into like that whole like street culture.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
whole current
like
kinda thing.
white kid in the in
the
the
urban
hip hop culture. You know what I mean? Like, and this actor ain't doing it. Like if you know Danny Rand from the comics, you know that's how he kind of is.
So
And
last thing I'm gonna
he can't do it.
Hopefully, if they do a season 2, they'll have time.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing I'll say about season 2 is it'll be interesting to see how much course correction they might do because so many people are giving it a hard time. And the last thing I'll kind of go to here is that because Palmer was making a good point because me and him were talking about it, that the only positive, really positive thing, maybe not so much for you, Don, but for me growing up and maybe for these guys, was because you may not be up to it yet, but there's a drunken master fighting.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which me and Palmer were talking about how like they should have done more of stuff like that.
Right.
Like
Yes.
brought in more 70s kung fu movie
Yeah.
influence. Like sure, like that's a very
That
recognizable
was
thing.
that was when I saw that I was like, "Oh my god, this is
Yeah,
awesome!"
I was hoping
Yeah.
they were going
This
to
is
do
fantastic.
more guys like that.
Yeah, like you get some
Yeah.
praying mantis
Right.
style
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
from
yeah.
somebody and these
Right.
kinds of
But
things.
I wasn't hopeful by the end of that one fight for one reason because they really didn't do much with the style.
Yeah.
during the fight.
He's just kind of going about. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
he's
good
just
for what it
just
is.
spinning his wine, his rice wine. He's just spinning his bottle.
He's
of
no
rice
Jackie
wine
Chan.
around.
The guy doing is no
No.
Jackie Chan.
But
Definitely
it's
not.
funny because we were talking about before, like
I do remember.
we have all. I mean, as a kid in the '80s, there used to be a magazine called Comic Scene,
Yeah, we've talked. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about it last week.
and yeah, that's what brought it up. It was
Gotcha.
Like, I love that, and I couldn't I'd go through it and be like, we're talking like late '80s, early '90s. I'm like, oh man. Could you imagine, Clint Eastwood as Wolverine? No way. He'd
No
be
way.
awful. He was already too old at that point.
Chuck Norris is Iron Fist.
Well,
Oh,
he's
too old.
he's
Don't
already
take
got
it.
the line. Go ahead, make my day.
Yeah, and it was like there were certain things that just didn't work. But I just remember like having those dreams of all.
Those mental image
are,
all the time.
and that's what I say to my kids: like, you don't realize how good you guys have it right now.
You guys are allowed to wear shoes.
You know,
We didn't have shoes when I was growing up.
clothes. We didn't have clothes.
Well, you
just
know what's the flip for me with that is I always wonder like if kids these days will be able to tell
right
CG.
Like, what are they going to be? Yeah.
Well, just CG from real stuff because CG is getting so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like for us growing up, like special effects always stuck out as a sore thumb.
Except for the Last Starfighter.
What was that like? The one that broke the mold? All of a sudden, like
I think that one was the one where it was like
Ooh,
when I
this looks
saw
real.
that one, it was like, whoa, that is awesome. That was like that at that
Those
time. Like,
16-bit graphics
Yeah.
were awesome.
yeah, I mean, like it was ahead of its time. I think.
Yeah, it was the first one using like CG because it was 16-bit CG or 32-bit.
Like it wasn't Tron. Like Tron was like what 4 or 8-bit.
Yeah, but that was
Tron looked
that,
like you were in a
Yeah,
computer
but they were
game.
they were running around in rubber suits with like luminescent paint on them.
Yeah.
And they made it look really bright for the movie.
Yeah, well, but then when they had the fight scenes like in the tank and
Right. Yeah.
So, just one more Iron Fist thing before we
yeah, sure.
wrap
We're
that
not
up.
we're not wrapped up yet. What do you got?
Just one more, and then we'll close
They
it
keep
out.
coming to the surface, though. I tell
Right. You might not have gotten to it yet,
Yeah.
but there's a glimmer of like good plot in the show and good writing when they start to bring in how the hand is like really operating inside of Rand and like that they're using Rand to deal heroin.
yeah, I've seen that.
Which if you live in the New York area, you know that heroin right now is a huge issue.
Yeah.
And not just
Yeah.
New York, but in
It's
the country.
everywhere,
Sure.
Yeah.
They could have really like used that.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I mean, I get it. That it's a touchy issue, obviously.
Sure.
But even like a little like mention of it like from Iron Fist, because he's supposed to be the hero.
Right.
Like, you're responsible for what's going on with fucking, X% of the kids in New York City right now.
Right.
And another thing that pissed me off was everything Staten Island. It's a fucking landfill. It's a fucking
So we
There's
finally
fucking
got
chemical
a shout
waste.
out. We got a shout
There's
out.
chemical waste everywhere. There's fucking people getting cancer like you can't even fucking
Trust me,
imagine.
I had
yeah,
about
50
50 different Staten Island jokes on my way up, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be nice. I'm not gonna say that.
See that? Because Jersey gets it all the time.
Well, we
too.
get it too. What's that smell? Jersey.
There you go.
You know.
And we blame it on you guys too. You guys probably blame it on
Oh
us.
come on! It's Staten Island, and the island nobody wanted.
See, that's
Exactly.
it. But then in the end,
but nobody let us go either.
right? That's just going to say.
Right?
In the end,
Back,
Fifth borough.
back in the 80s, we tried to secede, and they said, no, you have to let the rest of the city vote to let you secede.
yeah, like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
The rest of the city's like,
basically,
what? Island? What?
Wait, you're at the fifth borough?
So I forget who I was talking to, but talking about the lady from Staten Island that goes up to Danny, and she's like, I forget, it might have been Ed or somebody. Who was like, she was too cool about it. She was too okay with it to be from Staten Island. Like when Danny's like, oh, okay, we'll work on it. She probably would have been like, yeah, you're damn right you're going to fucking fix that shit. My fucking boy is dead because of you. He got a giant fucking tumor on his fucking back.
That was Boston, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I just,
But it's
that's when a guy from Staten
similar.
Island does a Staten Island accent, it becomes Boston.
It does.
Boston.
Yeah.
just yeah. No, you're right.
But the woman was too cool about it, like,
Yeah.
in general. You know what I mean? She really
Yeah.
probably would have been in a twist.
No, you're right.
She probably
You're
would have already gotten dragged out of the building.
But I should was like Viola Davis crying with snot running down her face. Would that have been more believable?
She probably would have had planned it with her lawyer who was recording it.
Right,
And
yeah,
she would have
yeah,
been, gotcha, you son of a bitch.
Oh, he hit me. Did you see him?
See, look, we got you. Look, cocksucker.
You
You're going to pay now, you son of a bitch.
Danny Rand.
Yep.
But I think that's about it for us with that, maybe.
Yeah, it's just,
I got
you know,
nothing else.
Yeah.
It's just
So-
it's disappointing because
It
I'm
is,
not a
yeah.
super fan of the character, obviously, but
Ultimately-
it has potential, and it's like it has potential to be one of the better characters from the Defenders because we've seen Daredevil so much.
Now, what
Yeah.
other Defender character would you like to see them add in?
Like, if we were going to swap him out,
Yeah.
well, Punisher's coming. He's
Yeah.
getting his own show now. You can slide him into that, but
I'm
he's a little bit of a
nervous about that
one-trick
one.
pony. Much would rather watch him develop over 2 seasons before they made him, like, team up with everybody.
Right. No, he shouldn't be teaming up on any kind of
I do
permanent
like the way
basis
they-
with
Yeah.
anybody. He should be like all called in when they need
Yeah.
someone to do what they
It's-
can't do.
It's like Batman. It's like, I
Yeah.
get the sidekick thing, but it still doesn't make sense.
I did like the way they introduced him in
Yeah.
the second season of Daredevil.
Sure.
Yeah, I
did
thought
not
what's
like
his name, Bernthal. He was
Bernthal,
excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
But I didn't care for Elektra.
Yeah, Elektra felt like it
Yeah.
kind of fell
Mm.
flat. Like, Elektra's a thing where, like, it's just, granted, they've only done it, like, 2 different times. They've
Yeah.
tried it. It's just, the other one with Jennifer Garner actually kind of almost
Yeah.
feels more true.
Right.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But,
You know what? I mean, it's kind of playing into tough territory because of rights and shit,
Yeah.
and the
You
whole
gotta-
feel of the Netflix shows. But I mean, wasn't Namor
he's at Lions
a part of the Defenders though back in the day, like
Well,
the original Defenders?
There's
I think that would add like a. Cool
he's in the Invaders from World
Invaders,
War II.
yeah.
Yeah,
the
I thought
original
it was
Human
Defenders.
Torch. Don't get me wrong. Defenders is a thing where it's like the lineup changes anytime Marvel's
I
like,
think
let's
he
give
was
the
in the
Defenders
Defenders
another
for a little while
shot.
when I
Yeah.
was a kid.
Defenders is like 3rd level Avengers. Like,
Yeah.
they just never were able to sell.
Yeah,
So it's
Namor's
been-
been that one character that's kind of like in limbo right now.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
everywhere.
No, I know he's at
So it's like-
Lionsgate.
Defenders has been usually Doctor Strange in there, too.
Yes.
Because it's all these second-tier characters we can't
Mhm.
make work.
Yeah.
Let's put them on a team.
Yeah.
So it always rotates out. But generally speaking, the last few incarnations have been like Luke Cage and Iron Fist. And
Yeah.
I personally would have preferred to see Doctor Strange be done on the Netflix
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have. That would have worked for
Defenders
me.
angle.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just because it adds a little spice.
I mean,
to
granted,
the,
we wouldn't have gotten
the
anything
pot, you know
probably
what I mean?
near as special effects
Oh, of
heavy.
course
I think
not,
that
of
was the
course not.
restrict the dial back.
Yeah, there's sometimes these Netflix shows seem like they're running on really tight budgets.
Yeah,
People,
sometimes
people
yeah.
tend to forget though. Like I'm not in the line of work, obviously, so I don't really know all the specifics. But you could make movies for.
It
You can make
seems-
shows for
It seems
a
like it now.
decent price. I mean, I don't know why all these movies now need a fucking $200 million
Yeah,
budget.
Clerks
you
was
know?
25 grand.
Well, I think the thing is nowadays when you see what a lot of people make on their own time, like on YouTube, and what some of these people are able to kind of put together with really low production value and still actually get some good quality because technology's improved so much over the last bunch of years. You would think, I agree with you, you would think or feel like some of these shows, why isn't this better? And with something like this, I think it comes back again to just being rushed. Like,
I get
they didn't have time to do anything fucking cool in this show.
But it's like they probably spent more than they should have on this too, and they barely use any special effects.
Yeah.
And it's like I get it with Doctor Strange movie or show. It's it's going to end up being a lot of CGI, a lot of special effects. But like, a character like Iron Fist or like a Batman who doesn't really use too much mystics or
and they do magic.
Any serious powers.
And they do shows with powers and stuff on other networks. They do the magicians on Sci-Fi. DC's got shows with guys with do superpowers, but they're always looking for reasons to not do the power. Like you get it once every hour, half hour or so. Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that I'm complaining about big budget superhero movies at all.
But it's just this thing where it's like, you would think that like there would have been more emphasis put on this too, to be better than it was.
Right.
Like it almost feels like Marvel was like, all right, you got it.
Yeah.
We're gonna go work on Defenders and focus on that. Yeah. And you got this.
Right.
And all of a sudden they came back and they're like, shit, we weren't watching this kid.
Yeah.
So my hope is that next season, like if you told me all the creative staff was changed, I'd have no problem with it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It needs I think it needs a different vision.
Yeah,
an
overall
vision.
for sure.
Should we move on to the other Marvel product that was?
Go grab Ed.
Yeah, go grab Ed. We'll transition out. We got about 8 minutes. We can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll leave this in here. If you've never heard us before, we are the Wicked Theory Podcast. We got our buddy Dan sitting in. He's not part of the show normally.
I'm a guest. I'm a hired prostitute. I'm filling in for Agent Palmer today. I'm the proxy caster.
Oh. Copyright 2014 Bill Sweeney.
Hey. We got a bad case of the Palmers in here.
We do. I don't even think he's listening anymore. He told me he was going to go take a break. So, yeah, Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
go
funny
to bed.
I'm loving it. I really am.
Yeah.
I think it's really... I like the tone that they took with it. I like the
If you watch Iron Fist and you want to wash that taste out of your mouth.
Yeah, you go back and watch Legion.
Go back and watch Legion.
Go watch Legion. Definitely go watch Legion.
Yeah.
You're up to date with Legion, Ed?
Oh, my God, bro.
That's a yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Legion is definitely... I was shocked at how... Because I watched the first episode, I'm like, it's kind of slow.
You could kind of see where it could go wrong.
Yeah.
They were probably going to get soft in further episodes, but they went full on.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a Mr. Robot clone.
First.
Yeah, and then,
not really.
Jermaine Clement.
But a lot of people were walking away from that first episode or second episode thinking, it's very Mr. Robot. And it's like,
yeah, and then it got really...
Then it goes off the rails. Like, Mr. Robot stops at a certain point. This goes past that.
And it, when they open the fact that, when they start talking about it, like you hear it in whispers... And then when you really pay attention, because like there's a lot of stuff that's said in the background that
in the audio,
like, and the audio that you're not really listening to, you're not paying attention to. But like I watch it on the train, and it's like
you got headphones.
I've got headphones on. I'm like, ooh, what was that? And it's like you hear, he's Omega level. He's like this. It's like
I did catch a little
shit. Like this is really like they're really you got to pay attention to what's going on. So it's a lot of fun, and I know for those of us who for those people who are Shumway people, like there was a question as to who the big bad was going to be, and they finally revealed that in the last 2 episodes, and it's like, and it's and there were hints, and it's like my first thought as soon as I saw him was like it's the Shadow King, Shadow King,
sure,
and it was the way they revealed it and everything else, and had like little hints that were thrown in when you finally go back and you see it,
And what I like too is that like it doesn't really matter if you know who that is either.
Yeah,
right,
I'm
no,
totally unfamiliar
because
with the
then
character.
they come back and they explain it.
Yeah, because when you find out for sure it's him, it's like, well, here's who that guy is.
Yeah.
Here's why that guy matters.
And they explain it in a very basic way so that you still don't know all this of David's personal history.
Right. So was it 8 episodes?
Yeah.
Because next week is the last one.
I think it might be 10. 8 or 8. Yeah, because
this was 7. Next week's the last one. Yeah. So in episode 7, It's the only one that kind of deviates from the rest, like in the
Right.
sense of we're going to tell you everything now.
Right.
Like all the other episodes
Yeah.
play around
Yeah.
with like keeping it all kind
Is
of
it
obscure.
real? Is it not real? What's made up in David's mind? What's not made up
Yeah.
in David's mind?
Is he really kind of crazy,
Right.
or is he not? Is the crazy
Right.
just a byproduct of having too much power? So it's all
Right.
this mental shit.
Yeah.
So you really don't get a firm grasp. So if anything, episode 7 could be looked at as like it kind of suffers from that because it's
Yeah.
like you almost get told like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But what was good, it was good that they did that because the previous 3 episodes run
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
It's such a tight timeline
Yeah.
that it's like, oh wait, we're still.
Yeah.
You know,
we're
the
still
next-
there.
Wow, we're still
in
all
that
in his
place.
head. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
forgot. Okay,
Yeah.
any other show would have wrapped that
Right.
up by now.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
so
we're
it
still
was
all in
good.
his head, and life is really going on.
In
And
the
we're,
outside world.
we're still in that same
Split
second.
second. Yeah.
Yeah, and but that's the thing. Like, you know, is it that time was frozen, or is all of this happening in a heartbeat of a second inside of his head?
It's all happening in a heartbeat. And
Yeah,
it's in a
absolutely.
second inside of his head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about like
Yeah.
dreams. They say
Yeah.
dreams happen. You
Right.
can have a whole dream in an
Right.
instant. It feels
Yeah.
like 90 minutes go by.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
I
or
think-
a year or a lifetime.
Yeah.
Right,
I think
sure.
that's going to be the big reveal going into episode 8, where like they're going to come out and it's like going to be the same setting
7
that
ends with them
we saw.
in the process of coming out of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right?
One thing
Pretty-
I didn't
pretty much.
understand though, one of you guys might be able to
No,
clarify
they
this for
do
me.
come out of it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
they
they're
come
out.
out of it.
They come out of it. David's
yeah, no,
wearing the device on his head.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's
Right.
got the
Yeah.
crown.
As long as he has that on, he's okay.
Yeah,
Well, so we think.
for now.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
But one question I had though, and it must have just been me not really paying attention, but like the government guy that's in his head also,
Mm-hmm. Curly.
who's also a mutant, curly
Yeah.
haired guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets killed by the what is it? Shadow. is it?
Shadow King.
Shadow
Mhm.
King. He gets killed, right?
Mhm.
And then we see him again. No.
No,
out.
when they come out, when they finally come out full force, he gets the Shadow King
He gets,
crushes
like,
him in the
Crushed.
head,
Right.
and
But
then
they
when
show
they come
you
out,
in the room,
yeah,
like where the
It-
bullet is traveling,
Right.
how he's standing there frozen, but he
Yeah.
starts bleeding
Bleeding.
from his head.
Oh, right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
while
yeah.
so
he's
that's
getting-
happening.
He's
yeah,
getting crushed in
He's
the
getting crushed.
dreamscape, and then in reality, like
Right,
something's
right.
happening to his head, like
Yeah.
it's splitting or something.
and then they just show him like crumple up.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right, right,
Disappear.
right.
just like Music Meister.
Mm.
You die in the dream, you die in real life.
I didn't watch The Flash this week,
yeah.
Well, if you listen to the
missed
DCTV
so
report,
but I
much.
did listen to the DC TV report.
Bravo. That's another feature of the Wicked Theory podcast.
Mm.
But yeah,
I
mean,
think we're all digging it, man. It's really surprised
Legion,
me.
yeah, it's one of
Yeah.
those ones where we all. Well, I'll speak for myself that when
It's
saw
one of-
it and knew that was coming, didn't think it was going to be the thing it ended up being.
Yeah,
Really
Right.
didn't think so.
and it's turned out to be so much better than I expected.
Yeah,
So
it's the one of the few non-missteps Fox has made with the
Yeah.
X-Men franchise.
Right.
Yeah. And I think
I
it's
agree.
about getting out of the way and saying, if someone's got a real vision
Right.
and
They
it isn't
have-
just like,
well, I mean, you see, I think this is the third instance where we see that's worked with Deadpool. They
Mhm.
let they
Yeah.
let Tim Miller and then
Yeah, and
with
w-
Logan they got out of James Mangold's way,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
now
They have more shit coming though on FX, right? Down the line. I
Well,
think,
yeah, they're doing a-
Singer has something coming on.
They're doing an
That's
X-Men
X-Men
series.
and that's going
What
to
is
be on
that?
Fox
Yeah.
proper. That's going to
Yeah.
be on Fox
What is that?
main show.
There's an X-Men series coming.
yeah, there's no title for it yet, but the basic premise is that there's this family of mutants that's on the run from the government. It's
We're down to about 15 seconds, boys.
it's been
All
fun.
right, so,
Thanks so
yes.
much.
Thank you.
Dan, thanks for coming. Thanks for
Thanks
hanging
for
out for
having
the
us.
after
Absolutely,
show.
Dan. Thank you.
The Wicked Theory podcast is heard live every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern until whenever. Just go to mixler.com/wicked-theory. Mixler is MIXLR. Sign up to join the chat. Then click the follow button to get reminders whenever the show goes live. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, wherever good podcasts are given away for free, and at wickedtheory.com. You can support the show at patreon.com/wickedtheory. There you can get the after show if you miss it live. God forbid, plus other exclusive episodes. As always, send your emails to podcast@wickedtheory.com.